Welcome to another episode of Debate That, where we discuss pop culture, relationships, social issues, and much, much more. My name is Jay.
And I'm Nay.
And I'm Sean.
Nostradamus, what we got for today?
Today we have a kind of a broad one. So it's once a blank, always a blank. So let's kind of fill in these blanks with what you think. Let's discuss that. And then I think the ultimate question is, can somebody really change who they are?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'll let y'all go first. What y'all think?
Once a liar, always a liar.
Once a perv, always a perv.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh.
Okay. Once a thief, always a thief.
That's not true.
No. Okay.
If that's not true,
Mr. Citizen, tax-paying citizen here.
no. So you just gonna go back there? First off, and
That's why this was going to be a crazy. This was going to be a crazy topic. But yes, you are living proof that that's not true.
Yeah, dang, Shawnee.
Went for it.
All
For the heart.
right. So for me, on all of these topics, I don't think that I think a person can change if a person wants to change. But I do think that quality is still in them, right? I don't not a quality, but I don't think that goes away, but it's still there. But you replace it with something else. So you ain't out there stealing or lying or perving, but
Wait, is that a word?
I don't know, but stealing and lying, and then what is the word for that? Being a pervert.
But look,
Perving.
But
I mean, you got people out there who are really sick in the head when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Where, yeah, I mean, even as they start off younger. I mean, but you probably went to school with some people who be like, yo, dude was a perv in school. You probably see him to this day. He's still doing perv stuff. But, I think that's one of the more common ones.
That's funny. Why am I laughing?
Where people are
just the way you're saying
and
it.
that, because I would have said, okay, once a cheater, always a cheater. Yeah, to that person you cheated on, but that don't necessarily mean you're going to cheat on the next one. You know what I mean? So it just all varies.
I mean, like, does it? So when you're talking about lying and all of that, Nay, you said once a liar, always a liar. So you don't feel as though a person can change that about them.
Go ahead, let that fire out.
I just feel like that's like really deep rooted into the core. And maybe I'm a little biased because I just hate a liar. It's probably my ultimate pet peeve. And I just feel like, once it started somewhere long time ago, probably from when you was little and your parents thought it was cute or something, they didn't nip it in the butt back then. And now you're a whole grown adult and all you do is lie. I think it's such a deep rooted issue.
So
internally, spiritually deep rooted.
Is there a gray area with the lies? Because I might lie to you and tell you, I guess I got some famous lies. Like I might call Jay and be like, hey, you want to, let's see here. Let me try to use an example. Say, hey, somebody tell me, hey, where you at? I might say I'm up the street. My up the street might be 20 minutes. Exactly. But I'm just saying though, I'm not.
Liar is different than. I do believe that there is that, like you said, that gray area, that fine line between being a liar, and I guess I put being a compulsive liar in the category of liar, right? Everybody lies. Everybody tells a little white lie. Everybody lies. But being a liar, habitual liar, that's on a whole nother subject. It really is.
See, I kind of agree with you, Nate, but my thing is about it.
Me?
Yeah, I know. This is like one time, right? But not only do I agree with you on that, I think in general, like when something is in you and is deep rooted in you, you can't
Mhm.
change. So the whole once a perv, always a perv, once a thief, always a thief, once a liar, always a liar. I think if that's who you are and is deep rooted in you, you can't change. You can choose not to commit that action, but you can't change who you are.
So, well, how do you get to that place to become that? Because if you can become it, right, then you should be able to change it. You should be able to become something else.
That's the thing. I just think sometimes it's just in you. Like nobody teaches you how to lie. One day you do something and your parents are like, "Did you do that?" You're like, "No," because you know you're gonna get in trouble. You just lie. Nobody taught you how to lie. That's just in you. The same way in a thief. Like if you're a thief, when you walk into a store, you naturally start looking at all these angles. Oh man, I could case this, I could do that. But you choose not to rob the joint. But you're naturally gonna start thinking like a thief because sometimes it's just the thrill of it.
So I don't know because if
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, I'm
Because
looking
some
at
people that are compulsive liars, they at a certain point, they don't like. There's that mental. They don't even. They believe that their lives are truths. Like there's I'm like that's what I'm saying. Like in
well,
that.
not and people do that to themselves. Like you don't necessarily have to be talking. People will tell themselves something over and over and over and over again, and then they believe it.
True.
True.
So then, to your point and to Nostradamus' point, right? Like you had to get that way somehow. So whatever you spend most of your time doing, right, you become an expert at that.
Mm-hmm.
So if a person is constantly lying, like you're saying, then they're going to become good at lying. Then they can be able to tell when somebody's lying, when somebody's not lying, so forth and so on. But if they wanted to change that, then they would put their focus on something else. Do those that's I would guess that would it would be sort of a skill, I guess, if you will, and being able to lie like that and make it believable, right? So you don't lose those. You don't lose that. It's still there. You just choose to do something different and not use that skill for malicious purposes. But you can still use the skill of understanding people, how to talk to certain people, how to get those are skills within a person lying. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Nate doesn't get it. Like there are skills being a thief. There are certain skills that you take away from when a person's a thief. So let's say you want to put alarm system in your house. You will go and look at it from a certain perspective to be able to put up the cameras and everything because you understand where a thief would go in, how they would do this, how they would do that, so you understand how to protect your home. Does that clear it up better, Nate?
So I mean, I guess so maybe therapy. Like they can go to therapy to help with the lying issue. Like I don't know. I don't think it's something that you could just easily turn off.
I mean, none of this stuff
I
is
agree with you on the lying
actions
part. No, I agree with you on the lying part. Like if you're just a
Like,
downright
yeah,
hard
like-
liar and you just lie for no reason for different little stuff that you shouldn't even have to lie for, yeah, you got a problem.
But that comes from somewhere.
It does.
That comes from somewhere. I got a homeboy who just lies about everything, right? And let's say there was a dude I used to work with that lied about everything, but he was so cool that you just knew that what he was saying was a lie, but he was just so cool. So you just be like, yeah, whatever. He was a good dude, but he would lie about everything.
Y'all not good friends.
Y'all didn't call him out on it?
Huh?
Y'all
Y'all didn't call him out on it?
we didn't call him out on it because we knew it was a lie. We just didn't pay any attention to
Y'all
it.
good friends.
You
Well,
gotta let them live
it's
sometime,
not,
though.
it's not a friend like I would consider y'all,
Okay.
right? But it's
So
the
you
dude
let him
that
lie.
it's the dude that I work with, so I just let him ride with it.
I do that all the time, though. I let people have their joy in painting those pictures, and you can read between the lines, and I just be like, "Oh, word." Take it with a grain of salt. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I can really care less. But I'm like, you really got to lie to me about that. I mean, you keep it a buck. But some people just live that way where they have to feel accepted and they have to, make sure that they always look like they're winning and they're on
And
top.
that's where that may
You know what I
come
mean?
from.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And
So
from
I let them live. I don't call them out. I let them live. And that's like, well, word, but I just know who I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? So me personally, I know how to handle it. But hell, you want to tell me you're a millionaire? Go ahead. You know what I mean? I just start piecing this together and that together and be like, oh, word? All right.
So would you think that liars are just they're using the lies to cover up their insecurities?
I agree
Hell yeah,
1,000%.
there's a lot of that going on.
Okay.
That's the backbone of it, the insecurities.
So when you go back and you look at what what a person's like, all these things typically stem from something else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go back and look at it, there's something that's being compensated for on the back end.
True.
If you
All
want to
habits
change
stem from
that,
something else.
huh?
All habits stem from something else.
For the most part. But when you get to a certain point, you have to want to change. If you want to change, then you can change that behavior.
But do they want to change? Because remember, they believe their own lies.
You're right.
Okay. You talking about, so my aunt told me something one day. So my aunt and I, we be having conversations, and my aunt is pretty blunt. She's funny. She said a hoe can't be a mother, but a prostitute can.
That must be sin.
Huh?
That must be sin.
Yeah. And then I was like, Auntie, why? She was like, she said a thought, I think she said thought, just thought all the time. They just all the time they out there thought. And she said a prostitute got work hours. So she said a prostitute got work hours. So she only gonna be out there, I guess, doing her thing or working from this time to this time. Now, even with a prostitute or somebody who's out there thought, like, if they wanted to, I just had to throw that story in there, but I'm gonna use it. If they wanted to change that behavior, they can, right? Cardi was she was a exotic dancer, right?
Stripper.
But she stepped through that. She became a rapper, and now she really talks about that not that community, but being an exotic dancer. She was talking about how bad it was, and she actually tells girls, like, you don't want to do that, you don't want to go down that path. But as you can see, part of that is still there, even though she's trying to change. So some of those things are still there, but she's trying to make a change. But you can see she's gradually making a change. It's not going to be an overnight thing.
So basically, your aunt told you once a thought, always a thought. But once a prostitute, only a prostitute during business hours.
Yeah.
He said a thought can't be a mother, and what a prostitute can. Like, I just thought that was funny. And I said, wow. He said prostitute got work hours. I was like, okay.
So they got time to parent.
He said after they come back from being out in the street and clean up, then they're gonna go to being a mother. And she was like, they can separate that, because even strippers do the same thing. They're able to go to work, do what they gotta do, come back, and separate that from being a parent when their child goes to school, because sometimes that child doesn't know what's going on. and it's not all the time, because sometimes stuff come up. But either way, a person can change from this and change to and change their life if they want to. It's something that has to be wanted.
See, I still think it's just the choices that we choose to make. You know what I mean? Like, you talked about your joint was once a thief, always a thief. If you were thieving and then you stopped thieving and you don't even have the desire for it anymore, I would argue that being a thief wasn't who you were, and you just did it because you so-called fell into with the wrong crowd at the time. So you were just trying to be down. You know what I mean? So that's what my argument would be. Like, that wasn't really who you were, and you was just trying to impress the people that who were doing it.
So when I was out there thieving, right, it wasn't a part of me, right?
Allegedly.
It wasn't a part of me, right? But in doing that, now when I go in the store and I see how people move in certain lanes, like, I know what's going on just because I've been there. I understand it. But that when I wanted to stop that, I stopped, and then I changed to do something different. Like, that wasn't a part of me anymore. But in that time period, it was a part of me. Like, when you're saying that wasn't me. Well, when does it become that child? Like, at what point does it, okay, you're a thief and it's ingrained in you? When does that happen? How does that happen?
I think it's just one of those natural things. It's like, my kid, for example, he grew up. I mean, I say grew up like he ain't still a kid, but while he was younger, all he did was play basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
He played AAU ball. He played, and then he got to the point where he said he didn't want to play ball anymore. So I'm like, it kind of hurt me. I was mad for about a year. You know what I mean? Because he was fairly decent, and
He was bad for a whole year, bro.
yeah, I was mad for a year, man. I ain't, he quit AAU. I was mad for a whole year. But but we would go to the park because then we'd try to do something else. We, go to the park, do other things. But the first thing he gravitate towards is the basketball court and the basketball. So it's like, that's in you. That's who you are. You know what I mean? Like, the first thing that you do, that's what it is. To me, that's what I think is who you are.
But that's what you're familiar with. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily who you are. I think that's what he's familiar with at that point. Because heck, it could have been a football out there. He probably would have picked that joint up too. But I mean, like I said, it's a gray area in there because I do understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, some of these cats who eat, sleep, basketball, or whatever you choose to be in life or do. You know what I mean? That's, like you said, what you do, and that's basically who you are. You know what I mean? But I think people have room to change. You know what I mean? Everybody has room to change. Me playing Mr. Nice Guy. But for the most part, like I said, you got a model citizen up there in that square somewhere up there, taxpayer who's retired from the game.
I'm still trying to figure this out. How does somebody get to a thief? Like, if you said your son just gravitated towards basketball, so another child can just gravitate towards stealing the basketball. So is that, like, how does, if a child is born and
it's based off their surroundings,
anything, like, how do you get to that point?
Because it's
surroundings, instincts.
I wouldn't even say more so instinct, more so surrounding, more so like if you're in the hood and you less fortunate, but you see these cats out here eating, you know what I mean? And you see the little kids riding bikes. They got the new bikes and stuff like that. You the one riding the bike with no seat. You know what I mean? You ain't got no brakes on your bike. Come on, I know y'all seen bikes back in the day when y'all was kids with no seat. So at the end of the day, you see these cats out here with these new bikes constantly, it's like easy picking because at that point you like, hey, you know what I mean? I mean, I've seen it. I mean, I ain't going I don't want to say incriminate, but allegedly, you know, growing up in Connecticut back in the day, you know, people stealing bikes was a big thing. I had my bike stolen one time from one of my cousins who took my bike, and he got my bike stolen. You know what I mean? And heck, I had a nice little Huffy 6-speed joint. I'll never forget it.
Oh, you still mad?
Hey, I still know. Yeah. But check it out. Bro, I know they used to go to these other neighborhoods like the ritzy areas. Like it's a place out there called Windsor. So they would go out there to them areas, which you know, Hartford is small. You know what I mean? So they roll out there, go to these little summer you know, pool areas and stuff. You know, you park your bike, boom, you're in the pool. Easy picking. You see the dude coming down the street holding one bike with the one handlebar, you know what I mean, while he pedaling on the one he on, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, he got a new bike. But somebody just got. And it's, I mean, at the end of the day, it's your surroundings, you know what I mean, and your survival skill and the things that you want. People go in a sneaker store, hey, I need some new kicks. I might be less fortunate. You know what I mean? Hey, easy picking. I can take a pair off the wall and put mine in the shoebox. Walk out the store.
John, you sound like you did this before.
Negative. But it's just, like I said, mentally, you know.
I think that answers the question on maybe the child's, like, when does a child begin to steal? But I think another perspective of people becoming thieves, I guess, is entitlement. You feel you can get it because you know how to get it, so you just keep on doing it, and you just keep on getting it because you can.
Exactly, and you feel like you see that the first time you did it, oh,
yeah, that was easy. I'm just gonna keep on doing it.
Oh, nobody said nothing. Okay, that was easy picking. I just caught something fresh. You know what I mean? Even if it's the kid who went in their mother purse and took some money. Oh,
you do it over and over.
I ain't get caught. Anybody say nothing? Okay,
it was a habit.
You said a key thing.
At this point, you don't even
like she said, it becomes a habit. That's what
it becomes a habit because you haven't got caught.
Correct.
And then at this point, you feel like you're entitled because you can do it and you haven't gotten caught. You
listen,
keep on doing it.
When you get caught, then you like, because there's no opposition there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing it and there's no consequence. Let me ask you a question.
So when you get caught,
if you were driving, right, and you get to a light, it's red, you run the light, you don't get hit and you don't get pulled over, right? Every time you get to a light, you run the light. You don't get hit, you don't get pulled over, right? And you continue to do it. Do you stop?
Not necessarily.
Like, would you stop running the lights?
I wouldn't run the light in the first place. I obey all laws. I obey all traffic laws while I'm driving.
Stay behind the debate that logo. Listen, I'm asking the people down here.
Correct.
No, but straight up, that's something like you said. It's all when she said entitlement. You feel like you're entitled to your own laws. So if it's easy for you to do it, you're gonna do it. You just want to fly to the light.
Now, when one day you're driving, you run the light, and you get hit, almost die, right?
Okay.
That's the price you pay.
Now, do you change or do you keep running the lights?
It depends on the person if they really want to change or they've created a habit. They're like, yo, that was a one-time mess up, yo, but I could continue to do this. It depends on the individual.
You can't. Exactly.
But what I'm saying is that individual who decides that, yo, I almost died. I ain't going to do that no more.
But flip-flop it. What about the dude on the block? You know what I mean? He might get shot a few times. Mm-hmm. Does he stay off the block or does he, hey, I might have to wear this, little bag, because I done got hit up. So now I got to wear the bag, you know what I mean? And do you stop hustling? No. If that's their means of eating, they back out there.
That's why I was exactly.
It depends on what?
It depends on if me making this money is more important than my life.
It depends
Bro,
on
That's
it
the
depends on
decision
the
that I
environment,
made.
because at that point, if all you know is the streets, all you know is hustling, and that what has always been your means to
you out
survive,
there. You out there
you
by
get
any
locked up, you get
means.
back, or you get locked up, and you coming right back on them streets, because you
If
know you
if
might try to get a normal 9 to 5 or a normal job. You might try to do things in there, but eventually you're gonna slowly creep right back into those
Okay,
habits.
you're gonna see them people out there who doing it and they ain't even doing it as good as you did it. And
all
they,
I'm saying
hey, I'm back in the game.
is,
Easy money.
all I'm saying is there is situations where a person can change. So it's not
Of
something
course,
that's set in stone.
Of course,
I
But
agree, 1,000%.
but
so I guess
to
speaking of
y'all
the
point,
question, always, maybe we can remove the always word and say most of the time.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
majority of the time you're gonna be right back on the block. Majority of the time you're gonna run them red lights and run through them traffic stops. You know what I mean? Because you
And
still
most of
feel
the time, if
entitled.
you're a liar, you're going to continue to be a liar.
And to Sean's once a perv, always a perv, you kind of spot them from the beginning and be like, yo, that dude's a perv, or that's it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when somebody go postal, you was kind of like, yo, if that dude went postal, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, you know that. You see it in them.
man, there was this dude I used to work with one time, right? And he was one of them people. I'm not gonna call him crazy, but he was a little off, right? And some of the stuff that he would say would just, I would be like, yo, that's not like that sound like somebody who would come to work because they got fired and shoot everybody, right? So what I would do all the time was I would go talk to him and be like, yo, I'm your friend. You know what I mean? You
Look at this dude.
good? Because you know I'm your friend. I would
You
always
had to
be
make
like,
sure
I'm
that
your
you were
friend.
going to
I
be the one that
figure,
he lets out the door.
yeah, I'll be the one that he gonna let go because dude was off. And like our supervisor would come, I'll be like, yo, just watch what you say to that guy, because yo, that might be the dude who come and shoot you. Like he's off.
Remember that meme with that black dude who be sitting there like this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's you.
yeah.
I'm your friend.
I would look at dude and be like, yo, but like, okay, you talking about the perv, right? Again, so you saying all of these things are from the environment, right?
Not all of them. I mean, but majority of them. I mean, it stems from upbringing and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
what
It's
you're
not all of
surrounded
them
with,
is
your
environmental.
foundation. But
It-
you know,
So their environment creates who they are.
I
your
mean,
environment has
sometimes,
a lot to do with who you are.
yeah, I mean, especially with the perv, I think it's like, it becomes a disease because there's some sort of deficiency in their life, or something happened. Is like, I
Correct.
know when you talk about, some of these men who, sit here and prey on little girls. It's, I remember reading while I was in college, they were talking about the whole idea of the girl still being a virgin and being that first one, and um they probably didn't have their mom around for a while, or a
It
lot
is
of
a
different
disease. It's a
reasons.
mental illness.
It becomes a mental illness.
So are they
Yes.
born that way or do they become that?
No, they're not born
No,
that
they're
way.
not born that way. A lot of
But
times
there's
they're
a
molested and all kind of other.
so your like you say, your surroundings, your environment. You can take good things from your environment, which a lot of people who you see hustling and out there getting it, whether they playing sports and music or whatever. The environment shaped them into who they are and what they're kind of doing for the most part. But you also got that side of the environment that can crush some people. You know what I mean? To where, like she said, you got molestation, what I mean? Things of that nature that can put somebody in that mind state when you got all this child trafficking going on right now. You know what I mean? It's ugly. But if you're sick in the head like that, yeah, something mentally wrong. And your environment that you grew up in or whatever has, I'm pretty sure, a lot to do with it.
Okay, I can see that. I can see where you're coming from. I just, for me, I think people can change at the end of the day if they want to. If they want to go, if they want to, like, if they want to make that happen, they can do that. If something comes and it's bigger than whatever it is that they're going after. So if it's bigger than the money that they're trying to get on the block, and they're like, "Yo, my kids need me. I gotta change because my kids need me." That's a big enough force to move them in that direction.
True.
I mean,
If that's what they're valuing.
correct. So it go correct. So let's go back to what they value. If they value the dollar, then those kids aren't going to benefit. But if
They
they're
still might
valuing,
love their kids.
huh?
I said they still might love their kids.
But if this money is bigger than their kids, they're going to chase this money.
True.
They can still love their kids. You're right. They can still love their kids, but the value is placed on the money. To your point.
So can you change because of, for somebody else or something else? And I said, I know you guys all said you gotta want to change for yourself, but what happens if can you change for somebody else? And what do you think happens if you do change for someone else and not for yourself?
You shouldn't
regress.
change
You regress.
for somebody else.
You can want to change for someone else, but if you don't want to change for yourself first, you will regress right back into those habits.
I don't
open a few blinds, you know what I mean? That's going to give you a little light of change if you're doing it for somebody else. But eventually, you're going to, like she said, regress, and them blinds going to be closed again, and you're going to be doing it your way.
Yeah.
I don't go for so long.
I think people can change for somebody else, but I think once that somebody's gone, then what you guys are talking about happens.
Change for Jesus.
Yeah, it is.
I remember watching the clip of Iyanla Fix My Life or whatever, and DMX was on there, and one of his sons was like asking him to stop doing drugs, and he was like, "I was doing crack before you was born. I ain't gonna stop because of you." You know what I mean? So, it's one of those. It's one of those things. I think it's tough for you to change for somebody else. You gotta want to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
That's real spill. So you see him now. And what happened? Now he drug free.
Put in the effort to want to change for someone else that you care for, that you love, but eventually it's gonna go right back to those habits. You gotta want to change for yourself first.
But in changing for somebody, it can get to the point where a person is like, "Yo, this is good for me." So if initially you're changing for somebody else, but you figure out along the way, it's not for them, I'm doing this for me. It's one of those things where it'll stick. It depends on what's happened during the course of that time and what that individual is telling the other person that that person is changing for. So if they're changing for them initially, but they're like, no, in the process, they're telling them, look, you're doing great. Look, you're losing the weight. Your health is getting better. You're going to be around longer, so forth and so on. And they keep drilling that into the person. Then maybe that person later on understands that I was actually doing this for me, not for them, if they can convey that message properly. If not, once that person disappears, they're probably going to go right back to whatever they was doing. Because then they go back to their old habits because what they were changing for, whatever that thing was, is now gone. So I don't have the drive to do this any longer. If that makes sense.
No, that's right.
Yeah. So final thoughts.
Once a liar, always liar most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. Okay, there it is. So I guess once a thief, always a thief, some of the time. Sean?
Hey, anybody can change. But yes, them pervs, we got friends for y'all. But at the end of the day, no, there's change. There's room for change in everybody. You know what I mean? It's just It's up to that person. Amen.
Amen.
Once a thought, always a thought.
Once saved, always saved.
There you go. At the end,
There
yo,
you go.
we can go ahead and wrap it up. Nate, take us out.
Thanks so much, guys, and joining us in another episode of Debate Dad. Listen, what do you guys think? Once a blank, always a blank. Is that true? Comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support. Now go debate Dad. Bye.
Yeah. You see the loot, and I see the pain. You call it chaos, but we marching for change. You bring up the black on black violence and neglect the reasons that's behind it. Let's talk about cause and effect, but you ain't ever bring up that yet. America was built on slavery, so we never seen a common ground. Things ain't never been equal when the law still got us bound. Just think in 1964, we had to use the back door. Too close to still feel pain. Take a trip down memory lane. But one thing for certain, my people are hurting. I'm seeing the beauty, you seeing the circus. When we scream out Black Lives Matter, that don't mean that we don't value yours. It's just our house is on fire, so just pass us the water. We gotta fight until we win. We want justice, nothing else I wanna live. We gotta fight for our kids, so don't think we get enough until we get it. But we gotta hold on. All we gotta do is stay strong. So we gotta hold on. No matter what it takes, let's stay strong. You just gotta hold on. We want justice, nothing less, we standing strong. I'm telling you to hold on. Yeah, I'ma let you know that everything will be okay. Take a look at yourself, understand who you are. I see a black king, I see a black queen. Don't be ashamed of your scars. Spreading the love of your family, praying for peace for your sanity. Take a look at yourself, your skin is your wealth. Lean on your brother for help. Everything's happening is breaking me down, but seeing the unity's picking me up. Feeling this weight of this gravity, but can't let them damage my sanity. Been using this love, we gotta hold on. All we gotta do is stay strong. So we gotta hold on. No matter what it takes, let's stay strong. You just gotta hold on. We want justice, nothing less, we standing strong. I'm telling you to hold on. I'ma let you know that